Welcome back to Our Vision Farm. It is Monday evening here in Central Florida. I'm going to go check out our blueberry bushes because I took a glance at them this morning when I was feeding the birds and thought I saw a lot of ripe blueberries on there. So I brought a little jar, see how many I can pick. I've picked blueberries about 2 times ever since they have started ripening. Not too many, just a handful here and there. Our long yard beans are doing really good. They're trellising all the way up and I'm starting to see flowers. So that's going to be interesting to see what those look like. I've never grown long yard beans before, but they are very, very long type of, I guess, green bean that you can just chop and cook. So we still have a lot of zinnias. Our zinnias are doing great this year. They're just taking over even more. These are really tall as well, just almost as tall as the blueberry bush. And then back here is all covered in zinnias. Looks like we got something living in this hole. I wonder if that's a turtle. I am not going to be messing with that right now. But look at all those zinnias. The rest of our flower pots are pretty much done for at this point. It's just about time to start ripping stuff out and planting some new things. But we definitely have a lot of blueberries. Look at all those blueberries. This bush seems to be the one that gets watered the most. So it seems to do really good every year. I guess just when we turn on that sprinkler head over there, this one gets a lot more water. So definitely a lot of blueberries. I'm gonna see how many I can get from this bush since it's the best one. Now here in Florida, all the blueberry U-pick farms are pretty much done for the season. They're closed for their U-pick. So my blueberries are actually a little bit late in the season compared to, oh, I dropped one. Compared to what all the other blueberry farms, or well, we're not a blueberry farm, but compared to the variety that I guess the other blueberry farms raise. We got these a couple years ago from an older farmer who was retiring on his little U-pick farm, so he allowed people to just come and dig up the bushes that he had for a very affordable price. So that is how we got these. They've done pretty good. They did really good the first year we planted them. Second year, not as good. This year I pruned them and fertilized them a lot more than I usually would, and I feel like they did a lot better because I did that. Now this year I plan on giving them a really heavy prune because they're getting very tall, and you can see down the row the bushes are actually touching with each other, and supposedly that is not good. So I'm going to be pruning them really good from the top and all the sides. So next year we should definitely be having a lot of new growth and get a lot more blueberries, I think, because that helps. The more you prune your fruit trees and your fruit bushes, the more that grows the next year, the next summer. Alright, so let me finish picking all these. It's kind of hard holding a camera. I'll show you how much we got from the one bush. Alright guys, I think I got every single ripe blueberry that was on this bush, and I filled up my little 8-ounce jelly jar over here. So that is a pretty good quantity for one bush. I'm probably not going to get this much from the rest of my bushes because these are just not such good producers, but I'm going to go ahead and get another container so we can measure out how many blueberries I get from our 17 bushes. We had 18 bushes, but I noticed this year one back there has died, and I think the damage on that one is not reversible at this point. It's just a brown dried up twig, so not sure what happened, if that one had a disease or maybe something in the root system. Maybe ants or something got in there and killed that bush. So we have 17 bushes. I'm gonna go get another jar and start filling that one up. Let me leave this one right here. And I have seen birds eating our blueberries too, so more than likely we probably would have more blueberries, but the birds have been feasting on them Every time I come out here, I hear a bird fly out of the bushes. We also get those red birds. I think they're called cardinals. And I've seen them in our bushes as well. So, but that is okay. You have to stay on top of blueberries. It seems like they ripen by the hour. I can pick all the ripe blueberries right now, and then tomorrow I'll come back and there'll be even more ripe ones. They ripen very, very fast, so you have to stay on top of it. And while your blueberries are in the prime season, you have to continue picking and picking. So what I do, since I don't have that many bushes, is I collect them and I freeze them. That way, whatever we don't eat fresh, I freeze and make a batch of jam at the end, since I only have a little bit of bushes. Let's go get another jar and continue filling them up. Alright, I got 2 more jars just in case. This is the perfect time to pick blueberries because it is not hot out anymore. The sun has went away. There's a nice little breeze in the air. In the middle of the day here in Florida in the summer, it's just so hot. The sun is just beating down at you, and you feel like you're getting a sunburn right away just from being in the sun for a couple minutes. So I like working around this time because in the morning we wake up to do the animals. By the time we get our breakfast, now we just started a fresh new year of homeschool with the kids. By the time we get all of that done, it's already too hot outside to work. So when I have to do things like this, I like to just do it in the afternoon, and it's very peaceful and very quiet. You can hear the nature, you can hear the birds in the background, all the wildlife settling down to sleep. So I like it. I like this peaceful time of the day to just come out here and harvest things. So we've definitely had a deer visiting lately too. Surprisingly, it's been leaving our fruit trees alone, but it has moved on to eating some of our vegetable plants, which that is not good either. The other day, the deer got into our garden and ate the tops of our tomato plants. Luckily, it did not touch our actual tomatoes. We had little tomatoes on those plants, and the deer left it alone. It just ate the top of the plants, so that is okay, but hopefully it doesn't come back and do that again and cause more damage. It also ate some of our newer sunflowers. So we had the tall mammoth sunflowers that I showed you guys, but then we also had the burgundy sunflowers. They're a little bit shorter, but they're like a nice deep red color. I was really looking forward to those, and the one deer got in the garden and ate the top of those, so they are not going to bloom anymore. So that was a waste of all this time waiting for those to actually start blooming, and now the deer ate the tops of them, and it actually got into our garden. It jumped over our fence into our garden. That has not happened, I don't think, ever since we've moved here. The deer has always gotten into like this garden and into our fruit trees because everything's out in the open, but it's never actually just hopped into our fenced in garden. Not that our fence is high or anything, but it's just never done that. So I was surprised that it was able to do that, and the dog barking did not scare it away. Usually the dog scares the deer away, but there's nothing we can do about it. We just have to keep an eye on our stuff and hope that it does not come back to that area in the back. But I guess it's a good thing it's staying away from our fruit trees at the same time. I dropped another one. Alright. I gotta look really closely because they're very easy to miss. They blend in. I think that's about it for this tree. So we got these trees, like I said, once they were already established and big. So I don't really have a lot of tips on growing blueberries. I just know that the more you fertilize them, the better. because I noticed a big difference. We fertilized these a lot more than we did the last year, and we got a lot more blueberries this year. I don't think there's much on this one. And then the pruning, I think, also helps, because the pruning not only encourages the tree to create more new growth when it's a season again, but it also removes disease. A bird got to that one, and I picked a bunch of unripe ones, but that's okay. It removes disease, and the farther away your plants are, you want them to be a little bit close because you want the bees to pollinate your flowers, your blooms. But you don't want the trees to be too close because it doesn't have good aeration. The sun doesn't hit the trees good enough. So you're not going to have healthy trees when they are all like, you know, too crowded and touching each other, and the branches are crossing from each other. Anytime the branches and the leaves touch each other, that's actually promoting fungus and disease to grow within the branches that are touching. Alright, let me try to grab some. There's only one over here. There's a bug on it. Alright, a couple more over here. Okay, that bush is done. Let's go to the one behind it. I don't see much going on this one, but the one next to it seems to have some. We definitely have different varieties because I noticed the difference in the amount of blueberries and the difference in size of the blueberries. But the guy that we got them from, I guess he just had a mixed. He didn't have them separated by the kind. So we just got a mix from him, whatever looked the healthiest at the time. We're at about a little over half of this jar. Let me finish filling up this jar. I think I'm going to do the rest of this row and see if that fills up this jar, and then we'll start the next row. Almost made it to a jar full, but not quite. These back here seem to not have many blueberries, or what they had the birds got to already, because this is usually where I see most of the bird activity, back here. So there is some, there's like little unripe ones, but they're not, there's nothing to really pick. So let's move on to the second row. Not a lot on here. Another tip I have learned about blueberries is that they like the, I think it's pine bark mulch. So heavily mulch them. This is the one that I told you died. Heavily mulch them with a thick layer of pine bark, like the chunky mulch. And they really like that because it's acidic, and blueberries like acidic soil. So that mulch will eventually break down into soil for your blueberries. And they also like fertilizer, I guess that's a little bit acidic. So the fertilizer that's good for blueberries is the one that is also good for azaleas, which is a type of flower. This year we just used the plant tone fertilizer that we had bought for our fruit trees. But I have used the azalea one in the past. I haven't really noticed a difference in like the production or the quality of the plants. That's just what I have gathered since doing my research on blueberries. So this jar is about full now. Maybe a little bit more. I'm gonna have to grab that other jar so I can continue on this row. Alright, second jar full from our pickings today. But as you see, the bushes still have a lot of green berries, so I just have to keep on checking back every couple of days so I can continue picking all of the ripe ones. Alright, let's go back to where we left off. It's like a jungle back here. The zinnias and the yellow squash plants are overgrown. These are all cilantro plants that went to flower. They're almost taller than me. Alright, I think we left off at this bush. It's definitely starting to get dark. Our little light came on over there. But I'm almost done. Got a couple more over here. Gotta get on the other side of this bush because I see some back here. Blueberries are so healthy for you. They're so full of antioxidants. There's really nothing better than eating blueberries from your own yard that you know you have not sprayed with anything at all, because the blueberry farms do have to spray their plants. They have to spray them for pests and all kinds of bugs that eat their plants. But growing them yourself, you're guaranteeing you will probably lose some to birds and deers and things like that, but I haven't noticed any pests eating our blueberries. Maybe we've just been lucky these past few years. We have a lot of these stink bugs, but they don't, I don't know, they don't really eat the blueberries. Alright, almost done. Alright, this bush, I only see a couple here and there. And then we're back at the bush that we started over here. So another third of a jar right here. Not too bad for one day of picking. So I will wash these up and remove any stems that I may have missed, and let's try to disperse these a little bit so I can carry them. Not a bad little harvest. What do you guys think for one day of picking? So I have my little bag stashed that I've been storing in the freezer. Gonna wash these up, take any stems off, make sure I didn't get any bugs in there, and toss them in my Ziploc bag that I'm freezing them in. And then when I have enough, at the end of the season, I will either mix it with some other type of berries, like the wild dewberries that we have here, and try to make a jam out of it. Or maybe I'll just make a straight blueberry preserves with whatever we did get. We can just make them in small jars and then preserve our harvest that way. I could also bake stuff with them too, but we've been baking so many blueberry things this season for like the blueberry festival that we were part of, and a local blueberry farm that allow us to set up our stand at their farm. So I think we are all baked out on the blueberry muffins and pies and things like that. But definitely jam. Jam is always a good way to preserve your pickings when it comes to fruit. So I can't wait to be able to do this with our other fruits, our fruit trees, and all of that, like our peach trees, our guavas, figs. When all of that starts producing, I'm very excited to be able to pick and either preserve right away or freeze like I'm gonna do with these blueberries. But thanks for joining me this afternoon. I hope you enjoyed this little peaceful video of me picking blueberries this evening and chatting with you guys about our blueberry bushes. I'll be back for another video in no time, so stay tuned. Don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.